Play Anarchy on the beat.
Hey PJ, where you at?
I'm right here, man. This is PJ, referee.
This Shutterworth, the GOAT artist, Soul Wars, representing that Ring Gang Radio. We break down fights, not contracts.
This is the eye test.
This is the eye test. Ring Gang
Radio. This is the eye test.
Yes. Yo, what it do? We back. Yo, PJ, where you at?
Managed to find myself out of this disclosed location. I've been digging in the trenches out here in the cold north.
Yes. Eye test.
We back.
So, yeah, we back. We back in the building. You know, last time we had to give y'all niggas the real eye test with Pat. But now it's, you know, it's back to the dynamic duo. No Batman and Robin. But we got a Batman and we Robin. You know what I mean?
Stealing anything and everything that's there.
Yeah, nigga, with a bat. But so let's get into it, man. I know we ain't kicked that real shit in a minute, man. So what's the topic for tonight? I know you got something cooking up there, bro.
Yeah, so thing that is something that we've always gone back and forth on our own for the things about it, especially when you're in the ring. When it comes to ring generalship and knowing how to box effectively, we got to figure out, or at least give an idea of like what's an effective tactic versus a scary tactic. So, you know, like someone who's just staying away for the sake of staying away, like almost like they're scared, versus I'm setting a trap.
Or unsure of themselves, because I know a lot of people get mad when we say scary. So, you know, I guess a better way to say it is boxing like they're unsure of themselves.
So hoping for the best.
Yeah. Good luck boxing.
Good luck boxing. This is goodwill, but otherwise in another way. To yourself.
Goodwill boxing. So I know one of the first things that get me is a lot of the over movement. That shit kills me, man. And I know a lot of people do that shit, you know, especially starting out early. I know I did that shit. But you know, you gotta kind of rein yourself in, man. You know, you can't just get wild with it. You can't be Miguel Vasquez with it, you know.
So you mean as in just like moving too much or like moving out of the way, like without being able to fire back, right?
Kind of both, because the thing is, if you move too much, that expends energy. And if you're doing that and you're near the opponent, you know, and you're moving around like that, but you're still in range, you know, if you're not firing off effectively and getting your offense on, if you're just moving for the sake of movement and you're still in the range of your opponent, so your opponent might clip you or catch you in transition. So, you know, that, you know, you can make problems. You can make more problems for yourself if you just have aimless moving, you know, moving without a purpose, you know, moving too far from your opponent. You know, that's that goodwill box, that good luck boxing. You just hope for the best, you know. All right, well, you know, the ring is 21 feet. Let me pump my jab and, you know, skedaddle way over here. Hope he don't catch me type shit. Like, nah, man, that's not effective.
Yeah, that's true. So basically, in the sense, it's like if I shoot that shot, but I'm not really actually trying to land on them, I'm just trying to get away. But the thing is, I'm thinking too much get away instead of like just enough. I'm thinking like, yo, I gotta go somewhere. But I guess the other thing that people don't realize, if you move too much, you're giving the other guy confidence.
Yes.
Because then he'll just walk forward.
Regular nigga turn into Margarito.
Yeah, they will turn into Margarito real quickly if you let them.
Yeah, they get emboldened. They're like, oh, you running from me. Okay, I got your ass. All right. Let me cut that ring off. Let me double, triple the jab. Let me move to my left. Okay.
Let me step in real quick. because this
You
is one
step
that
in real quick.
let me step in real quick because let's be honest, very few people know how to cut off the ring.
Yeah.
So if you're dealing with somebody who knows how to cut off the ring, yeah, it's already a wrap.
If not, you might have some hope.
Maybe. Other times, maybe you have some hope thinking like, yo, I got away. Other times, you just have to tell yourself,
It's a fraud, it's a fraud, it's a fraud!
and then move on.
Second guessing themselves, man. Can't do that.
So what would be a good example? Like you said, Miguel Vasquez. Like, what fight would you say is a good example of him? Like, well, outside of all his fights, but one where he was like super egregious with it. Like maybe he threw a jab or two and then decided, like, let me get to the other end.
Wow. Damn, you got me on that one because I really can't recall any fight where I was really impressed by dude. Like he wins in the way he knows how.
Oh no, I didn't mean like something that where he performed well. I just mean like where he's done it and you can tell he just like, yeah, why'd you move out of the way like that?
Yeah, I mean, shit. He had 2 fights I recall on HBO. I can't remember the opponents where. I think it was one of them where I felt he lost. I'd have to box rec that shit. I can't recall the opponents. It's within the last 5 years though. Like,
is it against Shafikov?
Was that on HBO?
It was HBO. It was against the Southpaw.
I think one of them was a Southpaw. I think it's maybe 2 fights where I think he could have lost them shit.
Yeah, Shafikov is a decent one where you can see you have to look it up. Miguel Vasquez, Shafikov, he does he'll throw and then move a little too much for his own good, where he gets clipped by Shafikov for no good reason. So
those was around the ring where he's like damn near jogging.
that might be the other one, but otherwise, I guess that where we should say like where we're saying talk about being effective and moving away. You can jab and move, but I know LB will guarantee, because we talked about this before, move, but stay within range. Stay in the fight. You can circle around him while still being able to hit him and force him to turn. Force him to turn. And yes, you'll still be in the fight. You can still move out of the way, but if you can at least force him to turn, you can still pop him when he turns. But if you move completely out the way, what does he need to worry about if he turns? He can go anywhere.
Exactly.
I guess another thing that we should also look into, because he is another person who might be a little Tour de France when he wants to be, but not lately. It is the American Dream. As much as I love to watch him box, there are moments where he gets a little egregious when he moves.
American Dream. Who the fuck? What? David Reed? Who's that?
Nah, he's a person who recently, sometime back, fought Jared Hurd, and he apparently lost his legs after that. And Arislandi Lara.
Oh, nigga, the Cuban Dream. You threw me off when you said American Dream, because I was like, damn, weren't they calling that? Wasn't they calling that David? Wasn't that David Reed nickname?
No, but I also might be fucking up the name too.
This nigga said American Dream. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, niggas call that the Lar? But yeah, definitely Lar. Lar is one of those people who moved.
No, I just looked it up. His nickname was the American Dream.
I look up David Reed nickname too, nigga.
David Reed.
I know my memory ain't that bad. Hold on.
David Reed, boxer from Pennsylvania. Yep, he was the American Dream before the other American Dream.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's the only American Dream I recognize, bro. I mean,
but Lara's you could say the Cuban Dream, or like the runner's dream.
He the marathon dream, nigga. He the runner's dream. But he's boxing more effectively now that he quit all the fucking running. He moves still. He still moves and pivots nicely. It just he does it in a way where he can still keep that jab and left hand on your ass, which is what you need to do.
So I guess the other question is, did that herd fight really just like screw up his bike, or he just now decided like, you know what, I just have to sit down and pop people?
I think it's both. Honestly, I feel like Herd brought it to him so well that it's like you gotta box Herd and you gotta fight him. So there's
Like what J Rock did.
Yeah, basically what J Rock did. J Rock was able to box him, but he showed grit and determination fighting him off too, and not even just fighting him off. He was fighting him to the point where he was backing him off and becoming the bully. So with
Yeah.
it's different. Like Lauren, because he fought the same way against Brian Castano. He did the same shit, like with Herd, picking his spots, staying within range, chilling with all the fucking sprinting. So I felt like if he would have fought Canelo,
that's a perfect segue point.
Yeah, he would have definitely got the win.
Yeah, that's a perfect segue point, because you said like now he's starting to sit down and do more. So let's let people know like what was he doing before. So say like a really good example is the Canelo fight, when he started eating those body shots, when he decided to go a little too far with his moving.
Basically, like instead of like, okay, one of the easiest ways I could explain this is with the 3-foot rule. Y'all just go to ringgangradio.com, hit the training section, hit the training tab, and you see the whole explanation. You hit on YouTube, all of that shit. The whole video explained it. Basically, the 3-foot rule, just always staying within 3 feet of your opponent. Because within 3 feet, you can close the distance and you can evade. So 3 feet is usually 2 steps in or a deep step back or whatnot. So I feel like before he was using the 6-foot rule. Like he was like twice the distance. Like he would use his footwork, he would pop the jab, and he was controlling Canelo with the jab for the first 4 rounds and even getting the left hand off. And then Canelo stopped headhunting. He would just started going to the body. He picked it up, and then the body shots started landing. And then what happened? Lara, he started edging. He kind of edged away from the 3 feet and went a little further. So now he's moving around in circles, but he's not in range to pop the jab. So if Canelo stepped deep into him, Lara's already moving and off balance. And if you're not one of those guys who's like a Acelino Freitas or Thurman who could move around and pivot and punch on the drop of a dime from angles and all that type of shit, then you don't need to be, all over the ring like that, letting dudes walk you down and shit.
Yes, so this is where I'll step in real quick for that, where he says when somebody walks you down, here's the thing, especially in the amateurs, because you don't know who's judging. Generally, the second somebody looks like he's walking forward and the other guy's walking backwards, the guy walking forward is going to get the favor. Right off the hop, off the rip. Doesn't even matter. Even if he's being a human punching bag, does it look like he's coming forward? They're going to be like, yeah, he's the aggressor.
Yeah, and the thing is, don't let the guy coming forward throw more punches than you.
Yeah.
Because then he only has to land at like maybe a 3 to 10 clip. And even if you're landing at 2 to 1, he's throwing 10 and landing 3. You're throwing 2, landing 1. Yeah, your one shot may look cleaner, but he's getting 2 more in on you. So a lot of times, and that brings me to that whole back foot boxing. A lot of guys, they want to step back and counter, but
do they know how to use it effectively? Do they even know how to set it up? Do they know how to like do something on the front end to make somebody get into the back foot?
There you go. And once you're on the back foot, you got to look at it like, I got to control this guy enough where he's not getting off all these shots on me. Or if he is getting off all these shots, he's missing, and I'm clearly countering him and negating his offense.
And it shows.
Yes, it has to be clear. Like a perfect example of this is Billy Joe Saunders and David Lemieux.
Oh my God.
Lemieux kept trying, But
He
I
had
mean, he was
high
trying.
hopes. That man had high hopes.
Yeah, he had high hopes. Now, when I say trying, there's different levels of trying. You got David Tua versus Lennox Lewis trying, which is you got Orlando Salido versus fucking anybody trying.
Jesus fucking Christ.
And then you got, you got that trying where like, okay, you trying, but it's just not getting you anywhere. But the thing is, you don't even try harder. So you're not even doing the Devin Alexander trying where, if you watch like maybe his fight with Telnick, that was a fight. Even with the Matisse fight, same thing. He was losing those fights or having bad spots, and it's like he would get outboxed or he would get tagged up, and it's like he wouldn't know what to do, so he wouldn't adjust or make a change. He would just fucking start fighting harder. Like everything, he'll start throwing punches a little harder, move a little faster, and you know how he grunts and yeah. So it's like, I guess, kicking a dog and then you kick it again harder and it gets more angry. Like, but you can't just be angry. You gotta make an adjustment. You can't just fight harder. You gotta fight smarter. If you fight smarter with more harder, I mean, shit, you could win, nigga. Make your shots better. But Lemieux was trying, but he wasn't going balls to the wall. But he was trying. It just, Saunders was able to just clearly see everything, turn him and do his offense, where Lemieux's trying didn't even matter, and he wasn't even landing, but he was throwing enough punches where you could see like, okay, he's trying. Maybe if he do something else, but he never could. So Saunders just controlled the man.
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna say. I'll add on top of that, where he said like Lemieux is trying, but the thing, he's trying one thing. He's constantly trying the one thing. And to be fair, he's gotten to the point where if you are even stupid enough to try and trade with him at that point, you deserve to be laid out. Shout outs to Spikey O'Sullivan. But otherwise, if you decide to make the mistake of trying with him in his own little world, you're going to pay. And what was Billy Joe's response? I'm not going in there. I'm going to instead pepper you from outside, but I'm not going to completely run away where you can just walk towards me and look like the aggressor. I'm going to matador you, but stay in your range to poke you.
And that's the thing, Saunders was in range, for Lemieux to hit, but Lemieux couldn't hit him doing the shit that he was doing normally. Like, he would have to fucking change up his tactics, and he never could.
Yes. So basically, it's this. So Lemieux has his strengths, and there's a reason why he did it. It's just Billy Joe was aware of it and just kept finding ways to muddy it up, and he just did it well. So that's the other big thing, especially like where people want to know what's effective versus what's scary. If you're scary, you're avoiding the person getting a chance to do anything, period. Unless you're forcing a reset, you are falling into the scary territory. But if you know that they're fiending for something and they want to land it, you're trying to make them do that, but turn it into a mistake so you can pepper them make them pay for it.
Yeah, I'd agree. Because scary, when you fight scary, you box scary, you're hurting everybody. You're hurting yourself because you're showing that you're unsure of yourself. You're showing that you lack ring generalship or boxing IQ. You hurt the fans because no one wants to see that type of shit. And fucking your opponent gets hurt because now people gonna look at him on some like, yeah, well, the guy was afraid of you. You couldn't get him out of there. And unless that guy is someone who knows how to attack people who are fighting scary, which isn't easy. It's something you have to almost learn in a way, especially if you can't cut off the ring. So, it's a lot of factors in there,
Cutting off the ring is an art.
Yeah, just like inside fighting, this guy's at the point fucking jabbing is an art now.
Hey, Big Daddy Bo.
The art of stat padding. Yeah, yeah, but
Big stat padding show. Oh my god, I can't believe I said that. Actually, real quick, because I meant to say something about it, but I was too busy about it, but it should fall into it as well. Because, if anything, Triple G showed a bit of, where people may not be sure because they're used to seeing him fight one way, but this last fight against R.I.P. Steve Rolls, but when he fought Steve Rolls, yeah, he did. It was the ludicrous track, roll out. Yeah, let me leave that alone. So when he fought Steve Rolls, I'm fairly certain actually, he didn't really do the usual thing he did. You could tell the influence from Abel wasn't there anymore. He started to fight more like how he used to fight before Abel.
right.
So it is also at the same time he's also trying new stuff because there's things that he's clearly not done before. But he's probing now. He's moving a bit. He's moving a little bit more, But what was the key thing? He always stayed in your range no matter what.
Right.
In fact, if people are very attentive, if they are watching during the Steve Rolls fight, he did some things Kovalev would do. Non-committed jab, defensively get out the way. Non-committal jab, he might try and roll or do something out the way, which Steve Rolls did catch him really good with that 1-2-1, because he was assuming it was a hook, but it was a straight jab instead. But you could see he was just like, let me see what you're doing, let me give you different looks. Let me see what you're doing, let me give you different looks. And do that, move out the way. But he'd move, he'd readjust. So people are wondering oh, that's not how Triple G fought. Watch his early fights. He moved a lot. Before he started working with Abel, he moved a lot. He'd move here, he'd move there, he'd pitch there, he'd poke there.
He did use the ring more, but the thing is too, another fight, a recent fight where you can see where Golovkin used the ring more was the Canelo rematch.
I was gonna say Lemieux, but otherwise, yeah, that's it. Both work.
Well, yeah, I mean, both fights. I mean, you're not wrong, shit. I mean, I guess the Canelo fight, the rematch is more recent than Lemieux, but the Lemieux is a good example. And see, I'm glad you brought that fight up because a lot of people act like Sanchez didn't do anything for Golovkin or Golovkin couldn't box on his own. Oh my God, he's so unskilled. Sanchez has him a plotter. Jonathan Banks has to fucking rebuild him. The man Olympic silver medalist. The man can fucking box.
The guy has near 300 fights.
Yeah, exactly. It just sometimes you in a relationship with somebody, especially a boxer, trainer wise, and we know Sanchez and all the hijinks and shenanigans he brought, running his mouth all the time, and some of that was good because it kept the Golovkin name buzzing. Now I know the haters used to run with this shit and he's ducking this nigga, he's ducking that nigga. I mean, his trainer said he could fight anybody from junior middleweight to cruiserweight. I mean, why he ducking Kovalev? I mean, you don't want no work from Wilder. So you had niggas like that, but at the end of the day, I felt like Golovkin needed a new set of eyes, a new perspective. And like I said on the other podcast with my nigga Pat, they stagnated. I felt like Sanchez.
Oh, real quick here. Hey Pat, how you feeling after Joshua? just really curious right now. I mean, I fully believe Joshua will bounce back, but I just need to know how was your heart feeling that moment.
Oh man, we had to get back on that one. He's still recovering. But
I just got one last thing to find out, Pat, because I'm just I just want to know, because I feel AJ might come back, but I need to find out. How you doing? All right, I'm done.
They're taking it hard, man. They taking it hard. It's funny because you have people thinking Golovkin might take that loss too. he's got an undefeated guy and nobody knows him. Ruiz set the upset, and shit. Rose fought that.
Okay, you want to know what my response is when people say that, like, oh, the Ruiz thing? I was like, my response was this:
relax.
You cannot translate one fighter to another. Okay, what Ruiz did is entirely to him. Do not sell him short. Okay.
Thank you. Because niggas out there really thinking like Golovkin was gonna lose to this Steve Rose guy, but what I was saying earlier, basically, to just finish what I was saying.
Go ahead. My bad.
That Sanchez and Golovkin, like Sanchez, I feel like he got all Hollywood with the whole Canelo fights, and it was just about Golovkin, the brand, the event, Mexican style, hyping that shit up, and from there it just kind of spun out of control, and all the other different rumors I was hearing that Golovkin is sparring them bigger opponents, so he's not moving around, he's not being as quick, and you're hurting yourself if you sparring light heavyweights and heavyweights, and you're fighting middleweights that are smaller than you. So it's just little shit like that. So you gotta find what's effective for you, and sometimes the people around you might not be the ones that could help you do that. And I felt like, Golovkin had to get back on track with shit. And, effective strategies versus non-effective strategies. And I think Golovkin could do it all, but if, you need someone in your corner that can reinforce all your tools, all your habits, all your good habits, all your strength. And I felt like Sanchez wasn't doing that anymore with Golovkin, so it is what it is. But
he filled up his meter.
Yeah, because I like that you brought up the Lemieux fight with Golovkin, because it shows people that, hey, look, Golovkin could box when Sanchez was in his corner.
Golovkin knows better when he realizes, I ain't training with this dude.
Yeah, like niggas is making it seem like like Jonathan Banks had to, remake a whole new fighter. Nah, you just gotta tweak things and improve it.
Yeah, the best way to describe it is Jonathan Banks just fills in an aspect of what Golovkin hasn't done for a while, and Jonathan Banks just helps it. He's just like, hey, you haven't done this for a while. Yeah, I can help you, refresh that. And then if he can bring something new, bring something new. Then also, asking for kind of asking for a bit of a paycheck that shouldn't be more than you should be asking as a trainer, but
Oh man, but that's why I said he got Hollywood, man.
I mean, you could be like, yo, I'm that dude, but it was like if you're thinking one end like this and the other guy's not thinking that same way, maybe you should shut your mouth.
But I know there's got to be more to it than that. But I know since he's the most recent example, but yeah, that's definitely a good case of sometimes people just grow apart, and sometimes your path just don't remain the same as the others that start out with you, or that I know Sanchez ain't start out with Golovkin, but he joined his path years ago, and they was on it, they was making moves.
Yeah.
2019, it's a different look.
Exactly. A lot of times, as much as we like to speculate and everything else, we don't know what's going in between with a lot of the fighters, promoters, and trainers and everything else. As much as we want to step in like this, we cannot 100% know what's going on, yo. We can't all be like Ray J. We can't say, wait a minute. Okay?
Like,
we just have to keep going.
Bro, like, hold on, why you ain't training with him no more? Like your son, like, what's good? Like, oh man, but yeah, this is a real good subject, man, because you see it a lot, man. Niggas getting in the ring and they're using the wrong style that is not effective for them or for that fight. Like I know De La Hoya was another person who does that shit a lot. Who passed, he did it a lot. It always seemed like he had the wrong style every time he fought somebody on his level, and he would still make the fight close. But it's just like,
shit,
damn.
You're right. Yeah, he would.
If you just fought a little different.
Damn.
If you just adjusted one thing, you could have won. Like, I swear he almost beat Floyd. Like, I don't care what nobody says. Like,
He did.
like honestly, if that fight, if somebody would have made that fight a draw, I wouldn't even complain.
Like I watched the fight again recently because somebody pointed out something about it, and I was watching because I was like, yeah, his jab was playing a factor, but he wasn't using it like that from the beginning. It was just at spurts. He would do it at spurts. The thing you would talk about, like, stop doing things at spurts and just be consistent.
Yeah.
He didn't want to be consistent for some reason. He kept doing things. And I was just like, being like, if you do something that's like a little kind of like, actually works well. If you're scary, Floyd will see it and be like, oh, you're scared? Well, let me hit you with the right hand.
Yeah.
Like, you make you more scared. So even though it was like close, I was just like, yeah, you let him edge out. But I'm also thinking about when he fought Sturm, the one before Hopkins.
Too. That was a close one too, and I remember a lot of people thought the Sturm should have won that shit. But it was a close one, and De La Hoya
Sturm made a good case. He made a good case.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Otherwise, I'd be like, I still felt De La Hoya edged it, but I also understand why he was upset.
Yeah.
All I know is the way he was upset, the way he was telling it in the interview, Hopkins was just licking his lips. I was like, all right, he's ready to go. He just heard that. He was just like, yeah, I'm ready for him. He was like, yeah, I'm ready.
You got to remember, on that whole card, fucking, De La Hoya moved up the first time to fight Sturm. No one knew about Sturm, but we saw,
I didn't even know about Sturm. I was just like, Sturm? It sounds like a video game character.
All we knew is he was some German cat. I believe German. If I'm wrong, apologies. But,
let me just add this. Let me just add this as a disclaimer, as a throwback. So LB is an old school cat who watched fights back then. I am new school. I came in late. So for me, coming in late, I thought this is only for people who have actually played the game. When I heard Sturm, I was just like, yo, the dude from Advance Wars? The Game Boy Advance game? It's like the dude with the mask and shit? I was like, he's fighting who? And I was like, oh, my bad. No, that's Felix Sturm. I'm sorry.
Oh man,
I'm new blood, so
the fight played out like how you would imagine Winky Wright versus De La Hoya would have been.
Yeah. Oh no, Winky would have made it worse. Winky would have made it worse.
Of course, but it gives you an idea, like, with the high guard and whoever saw De La Hoya get jabbed like that before and eyes swollen. I remember Tyson was saying, like, after the fight, he was like, damn, like, that's the worst I've ever seen De La Hoya look. So it was crazy. So it's just wild. But yeah, De La Hoya is one of those guys who, it always seemed like he has the wrong game plan. Like with Floyd, the jab was working, like you said, in spurts. But the thing is, the jab pushed Floyd back enough to where, De La Hoya could get off those flurries and shit off the ropes and everything. Like, Floyd was fighting too conservative for the first half of that fight. But I don't think he did that on purpose. I think he couldn't really get off because De La Hoya was
bigger, longer, and used it.
Yeah. And then sometime around, maybe I think the 6th round, you started seeing it a little bit, and then by the 8th round, you already knew, like, okay, yeah, Floyd's getting into it. Shit, I thought De La Hoya clipped Floyd late in that fight as well.
Yeah, just Floyd carried it well. Also, we should also say, because let's not veer away from the topic, both Floyd and Oscar both showed really good examples of staying in the fight. They rarely fought scary.
Yeah.
Even when Floyd was going back.
Hold on, I gotta take that back. I thought Floyd was fighting a little scary in that fight.
At the beginning.
In the beginning. Shit, like the first 4 rounds, bro. All that fucking backing up. Like, nah, this nigga. It wasn't like how he fought Baldomir.
No, but then at the same time, Baldomir is like, in comparison to De La Hoya at the time, Baldomero is like a midget in comparison to De La Hoya.
First, because he fought scary against Baldomero though. I know he hurt his hand later on in the fight and shit, but that fight was so fucking whack. Like that was a wasted ass pay-per-view. Like
Actually,
the only thing
that's actually a really good point. You actually have a really good point. You have a really good point there. I'll let you finish, but there's a really good point, which I need to ask you about that.
Oh, no, the only thing I was gonna say was the only thing that was worthwhile in that whole pay-per-view was I think you got a Paul Williams KO. Areola got a KO. This one, Areola was slimmer, had them combinations, and
Proto Ruiz, yes.
Orlando Salido took Robert Guerrero 0. Like he beat Robert Guerrero's ass in that fight, but it got turned over later on some.
I'm going to add something real quick where people are wondering like, who's Orlando Salido? And I know Pat's gonna love this, but when you hear the name Orlando Salido, he's coming for you. Understand that. Anytime you hear Orlando Salido, you know.
And then he a landlord too. Just imagine him. You late for your rent, Orlando Salido pop up at your door like, bruh.
I'll wrestle him right there. I ain't even gonna try to deal with punches. I'm just gonna wrestle. I'll turn into MMA real quick. Just to find out he knows and he can just like choke me out right away. He seems like the kind of guy who just knows this shit, and you're like, the guy has too many jobs. He's been in too many things. I'm like, he's probably done MMA and you don't realize it.
All them rough ass fights, I wouldn't blame. I wouldn't blame him. Shit, man. Like,
I mean, when he cleared out that liquor store, I'm just like, yo, he was probably just like, yo, I'm Orlando Salido. You probably owe me. Probably gave you that Uber ride and you didn't know. But anyway, to bounce right back. Like we're talking about, like we said, like Floyd fought scary at the beginning. Also, he fought scary in the Baldomero fight. So I cannot. I'm spotty with this. So hopefully you can confirm for me. So I do know at points of Floyd's fight career, Roger was his main corner, and then at a certain point, his dad was the main corner. So for the Baldomero, and I know for the Baldomero, I don't know about Baldomero, but I know for the De La Hoya fight, Floyd Senior was not there. It was Roger.
Yeah,
it was Roger.
Roger was there for the Baldomero fight. Yeah.
Okay, so that would be all Floyd at that point. So I guess Floyd was just being too cautious for his own good.
But that's the thing. He hurt his. I don't know what round it was, but I believe he hurt his wrist or his hand in that fight. I remember a lot of people was leaving the fight. I think Tiger Woods left. A lot of celebrities, niggas was booing. Like shit was trash. Like, you know, I'm just being honest. Like
Tiger Woods out of all random ass people, in like a sport that if you don't 100% know the sport, you're gonna fall asleep. I mean that actually works. There's a sport that if you're gonna sleep, he left.
A nigga who played golf. If you born a motherfucker who played golf, then you know your fight was stale. And I mean, this is the thing. I ain't even trying to shit on Floyd. I'm a Floyd fan. I respect him. He got great skills, but nobody has perfect performances every night out, you know. And no one looks great every night out. This shit happens. And, you know, Floyd got a few stinkers. Shit, everybody got some. Like,
I've never heard of a single fighter who's not had a stinker, except guys with extremely short careers.
Oh yeah.
Also, because we were talking about scary boxing and effective boxing, because I missed this conversation, because, I mean, I'm not a fool, but otherwise I do have to help other people. But let's talk about something recent. Ruiz Joshua. Would you say Joshua is fighting scary, and at which points? I mean,
hell yeah, man. I don't even know if Joshua was fighting scary. Joshua was fighting like he didn't want to be there. He didn't care. He was just so lackluster, lackadaisical. Like he's like, yeah, man. You know, I got to go on break after this. You know, baby mama tripping. Like, dude, like, nigga, focus on this fucking Mexican in front of you that's about to beat your ass.
He got horses in the back.
Shit, he got his shit pushed to the back. So yeah, like. But yeah, we gotta, you know, that's why we don't have these great fights no more. Because dudes is either moving around too much fighting scary or not trying to use their ring generalship and be authoritative with it, you know. So that's why, you know, we get some of these shitty ass fights now, you know. And just think about it, like, if you look at the fringe contenders or the top 10 contender niggas from 20, 30 years ago, their skill and technique is like a level above the contenders from this age. Like even a guy like, you know, like Tex Cobb, like he wasn't like, yeah, he was a, you know, a slugger, brawler type of boxer, but I mean, shit, he held his hands up. He had little footwork. He threw straight punches. He knew how to jab. He worked the jab in. It just, you know, when you going against all-time greats like Larry Holmes and shit, they really show the limitations if you someone like on his level. But compare that to some of these guys we see now who can't throw a straight punch for shit. Can't step into the opponent's range with a jab for nothing. So, you know, you gotta make the best use out of your tools, bro. Like, you know, you gotta implement effective strategies for you to win. That's honestly what it comes down to. You know, we just giving you examples of when motherfuckers is fighting scary and bad and all that shit, or when people fight better and everything. But, you know, it could be hit or miss sometimes.
Yep, it is super hit or miss. So I will say, because I do know where sometimes we'll say like, yo, this dude did this, I will point out there are instances, even though I could tell, me myself being a back foot boxer, Joshua is a bit more lackadaisical than I've ever seen when he fought Ruiz.
Yeah,
not too sure why. Not too sure why. Even like the footwork, where people said like, oh, you know, his footwork was like this, it was kind of a little too structured for its own good.
Yeah.
To me, I felt if somebody is willing to hold a Snickers bar in front of me, it's on. If I'm struggling to go down in weight and you dare hold a certain food in front of me, I'm not going to be emotional about it, but I'm going to be like, I'm going to take your Snickers bar. And I'm going to eat it. I'm like, after the fight.
I mean, remember Joshua was letting this nigga hold his belts and everything. Like, he's like, they're going to be yours soon, buddy, so get used to it.
He was trying to pull that Floyd thing that he did with Canelo, but it just went so south so bad.
Nigga, you gotta have Floyd skills to do that shit though. Like, you can't, you know.
Yeah, well, you can ask Joshua about that, or you can ask, or we can ask Joshua's representative, Pat. Maybe Pat can explain.
He couldn't. I think I asked him that shit too.
Pat is going to cook me. So the moment he hears this,
gonna pull up. You better have the fucking whatever stone. I mean, I know this nigga got the power stone. You better get the damn mind and reality stone and all them other shits, nigga. Oh man, but is that you feel like there's any closing points you like to make? Any last?
Yes.
You know,
yes,
final
sir.
thought?
Yes, sir. I do.
The drive home.
Yes, sir. I do. The main things I would like to tell people is this. You are free to move. You are free to readjust. But it is always good to make sure you can still be able to throw a shot right away. You can move out of the way, make the miss, and still be able to fire back. You do not need to move back unless you 100% are sure you just want to force a reset. If you're doing it as a gut reaction, try and make sure you can control it. Because sometimes you'll have a better idea when you can realize they're overextending. Then you can punish. However, if you feel you want to use all the ring all the time, I'm not going to stop you. But good luck working it with the judges. Also, good luck working it in certain areas of town or places where you could be actually the smart guy and you're legit making the guy miss and making them pay. But guess what? Some judges will be like, well, the other guy walked forward, so I guess he won. especially in the amateurs. So it doesn't mean, especially for all you amateur fighters, if you are listening to this, amateur fighters, you don't need to make every fight a brawl. Think of every fight like this. What did you do right? And did you do it smart? When you walked out the way, were you able to hit them right again? Then you did something right. That's how I look at it. Just stay within range and understand when, drill it if you can. Move too far and move enough. Understand the two, then make them work for you. And yeah, that's my coach hat. I'm putting my coach hat away. Feel free to take the floor.
Putting the pistol back in the holster, like, yeah, I'm good, my nigga. Yeah, I put in work. Like,
Yeah, sure, let's go with that.
Like, I ain't gonna hand you the burner back and it's full, my nigga. You know, I emptied the whole clip on them, son. Like, I got you. So, yeah, just to reiterate what you said, man. You know, that's real shit. Like, and it's not just amateur level. You know, it goes all the way up to the pros. There's a thing with some judges give too much credit for moving away. You know, the negative boxing and moving away and back foot boxing. You know, and not really doing enough. Then you got some judges who give too much credit for people coming forward and not really doing enough. So you gotta, if you're one of those guys who fight backwards or you fight coming forward, learn to do both. And whatever one you prefer, master it in a way where it comes off clean, just, you know, the second nature. Just, you're not trying, it's just effortless. Meaning, you know, as soon as a guy, you know, comes in with the double jab, you already lining them up for a counter, but you moving out the way, you making them miss the jab clean, and then you pivoting and you countering with your jab. You still, you know, you following the 3-foot rule, not the 6-foot rule, not the down the block rule, the 3-foot rule. So you could be in, you know, be in range attack and just be effective with what you're doing. Whether you back foot boxing or front foot boxing, pressure, boxer, puncher, swarmer, infighter, or whatever the fuck you do, just be effective at it. And a lot of times, if you want to be effective at something, you gotta learn the weakness of it so you can counter that, or you can find a way to work around that weakness. So, you know, like, I know we brought up the Saunders Lemieux fight. Lemieux couldn't cut off the ring when Saunders was pivoting, and he wasn't throwing that extra punch that's going in the direction of Saunders, so Saunders could walk into it. That one adjustment could have changed the whole fight for him. So, and he could have kept his same style. No one's telling him to adjust his style, just work different punches. So, you know, it's just shit like that. You know, that's all we saying. You know, be effective in what you're doing. Whether no matter what style you use, just be effective with it. Know that you could be ineffective if you're back foot boxing. You could be ineffective if you front foot boxing, pressuring people. So,
yeah. Anytime you do something could go south. Anytime. It could go south instantly.
Exactly. So that's all we saying, you know.
Change on the fly.
Yep. Change on the fly, you know, be able to adjust. So, you know, I know that was another episode. We ain't hit y'all off in a good minute, but you know, this is an eye test, which was the boy PJ and Shutterworth, LB, Lauderdale Boss, Soul Award, the GOAT artist, nigga. ringgangradio.com. Y'all make sure y'all check us out. Patreon, YouTube, IG, Twitter, all that shit.
Yeah, once again, Ring Gang Radio. Hit the multiple ways you can reach us: Twitter, YouTube, Patreon. If you want us to do more, you better say something. How about you say, like, hey, let's ask for this, because I'm thinking about it, and we both know it right away. As we were talking about it, we just thought about like 3-4 other topics, but yeah, we don't have enough time for that. Yeah. So we can sit down and structure it. Yeah, they don't need to know that, but otherwise we can structure everything and then we could do some more. But otherwise, we need to hear some feedback. We need to know. But like, hey, what do you want to know? Some things like that. Sometimes be like, hey, I'm trying this in sparring. Let's hear about it. We do want to hear from you guys. If you're listening, send us a message. Hit up Instagram. I don't look at YouTube, but otherwise, hit up Instagram. Hit up Instagram or send an email or hit up the website. Just say something like, hey, I'm thinking about this, or I was thinking, does this work? We'll eventually get back to you.
We'll try soon as possible. But yeah, you know how it is. So this ringgameradio.com, the Eye Test podcast, signing off. One.